Hey, welcome to the Weird Gym Diary. I wasn't expecting myself to be over on this side. Here we go. Let's give myself some more room. It's Rick from 28 millimeter RPG. GM Diary. Okay. So, um, so we did our cipher session. An interesting one. um, the weird thing was, you know, we didn't really talk much about tone, and it was kind of spontaneous. So, sometimes the tone seems to set itself with the players. So, um, I just went with it. So it was going to be somewhat, I guess, humorous in a sense. I guess maybe. Um, if that's where we're going with it, then that's where we're going. It could have been serious. It could have been more frightening, scary, weird. But with this kind of cipher, it could be pretty much anything, and a little bit of humor doesn't, you know, it's not bad. I mean, we can do that. Because a lot of our traveler is kind of more on the serious kind of aspects of sci-fi horror and you know Twilight Zoney kind of stuff. So it is good to have kind of a different thing going on. I didn't know what our tone was going to be set at. I had the basic ideas. The only thing that I had kind of set for the entire session was the idea of um, Spencer's character in the beginning playing Merlin, yeah, Merlin. Um, of him because he wanted to play something of a vampire kind of idea, a vampire character, uh, but not full vampire. And those Blade kind of characters is what he was going for. And I thought it was kind of funny the way his accent came out. We were both almost doing the same accent together, which was interesting because I gave him the idea of Grigory. I kind of prepped him the idea of Grigory was going to be uh, because his old man servant kind of idea, and he didn't know that there was going to be a backstabbing or anything. So it was all however it went. He was rolling amazing. I could not believe it. I thought it would be a bit of more of a challenge with him. I thought maybe the underlings might be able to take care of things, and then he would have maybe the main bad guy there, the one with the scepter, would have said something or along the lines to kind of poke some fun at the vampire guy while he was helpless, but it went the way it did. So it was just like, wow, he was doing such amazing roles. He was like doing 20s and 17s, and everything was high. He was just rolling like the bomb. I tell you, it was pretty funny. But he was going to get captured anyways. So because of the way that I wanted him to feel like, okay, he kind of feels that he's in a human centric kind of idea when he gets into the game. But 200 years later, the humans have gone and devolved into hideous creatures, followers of Hastur. So if you know any about your H.P. Lovecraft, well, I guess it's not H.P. Lovecraft. It was one of the other guys that pulled off the King in Yellow Hastur mythos that kind of blended in with that with the Cthulhu mythos. Um, it just I wanted to be kind of, serious with these guys. Like, they mean business, so I'm not gonna play them humorous. but but everything else seemed to have a little edge of humor in a bit. I had no idea um how any of the other characters were going to be played. Like with Gordo's character, I had no idea. I knew he wanted to have like a split personality between him and the sword, but or his I guess great axe or something, whatever weapon it was that he has that he is attuned to. Um, and you're going to discover some interesting quirks with these characters as we play, because there's a lot of stuff that hasn't been revealed yet about the characters themselves. And find out more um, of why Gordo's character Magnus is weird, has a split personality, and that sort of thing. Um, Josh's character. I've never expected Josh to ever play like a character that like doing voices and stuff like that. He's not that type of a person, so, which is totally cool and everything. He tried some interesting things. I suggested a few things through the knowledge of Grigory to help him along and some of his ideas, because Cypher is such a it's a little looser than um a lot of other um mechanics that are out there. And the one thing that I'm going to say for all game masters out there is, one thing that I've noticed with Cypher is because all the players are rolling all the dice and you are not rolling an attack roll as a game master or anything, so you lose yourself in that. What part of the round are we in? Are we in a defense, or are we doing the attack? Or so keeping your brain on whether or not it's attack or defense is a must. So whether or not I have maybe like for example a card that let me just grab something to pretend it's a card that says attack and then defense and then attack and then defense, and you keep on flipping the card as you're game mastering, and you can kind of keep track of what because sometimes when you're into it and you're describing stuff and you just boop, comes out of your brain, you can't remember whether or not this roll is an attack or defense because it's all done with the same roll, and sometimes it is done with the same challenge rating, and other times it is not. So you have to kind of keep that in mind. So that's one thing that I would suggest with game masters doing Cypher, is keeping that in check. And that's what I'm gonna do. Is I'm gonna make myself a card that I can flip from one side to the other, just to keep track of what part of the combat we're in, whether or not it's defense or attack. Um, new role playing approaches and stuff. We're trying different things to see what works. Spencer is getting pretty good. He's getting it. He's starting to get the idea that he's got to be in character, and he doesn't speak out of character as much anymore, which is awesome. And of course, it won't take very long before Josh follows suit as well with what everybody's doing. Of course, we have the awkward pauses, after speaking. I'm trying not to say, "What do you do?" Um, what I could do instead, once again, is just a prompt to just say, um, something like, and Merlin turns to the rest of the group, or something like that. Just a with some sort of a prompt that kind of leads into, okay, your character's in the spotlight. That might be an idea. Instead of saying, what do you do? And that's, that's to kind of keep it in more of a narrator context, I guess. So that's an idea. I think I will play with that a little bit more. But I like that Spencer is doing more role play, not speaking out of character. He's speaking in character. He's having fun with it, and that's the main thing. You're honing your skills and you're learning things as you're doing it. You're discovering what works, what doesn't work. And this is the thing with Cypher is we were talking a little bit ahead before the session started, and one of our discussions is how are we going to um, utilize effort and assets and stuff like that in the gameplay without making it sound mechanic, like game mechanics, and to have it more role play, you know, fluid. So one thing was Fantasy Grounds has a lot of stuff automated. So I went over, because this is a totally new. We're not using Traveler. Traveler has its own kind of rule set and the way it works within Fantasy Grounds, and in the Cypher version of Fantasy Grounds, a little bit more basic, but there is some automation which is done. I'm gonna sneeze. A little bit of automation that is done. And one of the things that I discovered was when you set up their abilities and stuff like that, those are all automated. So whenever they go ahead and do an ability, bango, it deducts the points off of their whatever it is that it relates to, be it might, be it speed, be it intellect. It deducts the points properly, which is great. It's awesome. So there's no players saying, "Oh, I'm going to use effort," or "I'm going to uh, do a thing," a special ability. They can pretty much hit the button saying that they're doing this, and it comes up on the screen for everybody to see. And that's why I kind of moved everything out of the way for the for everybody to watch the little chat lane on the chat box on the side, so you could see the roles and you can see how the roles are being reflected, whether or not it's a high roll, what kind of bonuses they get, and stuff like that, which is cool, which helps anybody watching the role play session how the mechanics are working in there, and how I'm saying, hey, okay, you super high roll, um what do you want to do? It actually shows that there's an effect being applied as well, so the player has to uh express their player intrusion into the gameplay, and and that's one thing that the players have to get used to as well, because we're switching it up from Traveler to this totally different system. So that's a thing, is getting used to this system in particular, and the players being all on the same aspects of the mechanics, and knowing what to do, what they can do when certain rules are made. Um, yeah, a lot of surprise spontaneity in this session. Um, but like I said, I had no idea how any of these guys were actually going to role play as our characters. So um, interacting with these characters was kind of interesting and different, and wasn't like when you're expecting to interact with a starship crew of humans. We're dealing with a dwarf, we're dealing with an elf, and they have their own ideas how the elves and the dwarves and the gnomes and the humans are interacting. I'm letting them have the freedom to do that. I'm not imposing any kind of we're this part of the dimension world whatever is totally how we put it together. So I have my ideas, and they come into play. None of them are totally set in stone, so it's full on. Once again, we are you know uh, doing everything on the fly, kind of. So, um, but once we have now that we've had this first session come and gone, uh, we've kind of got a baseline of where we're at. Now we know where we're going to go for our next session. And one of the things, session endings. So I try to end the session with something interesting in happening, which wants the players to come back, or wants the you viewers out there to come back and find out what's happening. And of course, the ending to this one was the they summoned the uh, the Amber Hand minions, summoned something, and it wasn't 100% apparent, but it was very strange. The moon off in the distance was drawn closer after a bit of a quaking that happened in the land. And then all of a sudden, sprouting from the horizon was like these tendrils that reached out to the moon and grabbed it, grasped it, started tearing it apart and pulling it towards the world itself. Very strange. Because I have my, I know what's happening, and everybody else will end up, slowly figuring out what actually is going on here with this world dimension, and discover the secret behind all of this occurring. And we might, depending on how the next session go, I guess we could end up encountering more of the elves and discovering more stuff about them, which related to uh, Josh's character, and he's kind of leading how he feels about the other races here, and and building upon that. Um, and I know Gord is doing the same thing. It's all, we're all going by feel and seeing what we feel is right, and discovering, okay, there is a little bit of amity between the dwarves and the elves, because that's what Josh is indicating. It could have been harmonious. It all depended on how um, Josh expressed it at first, and how Gord interacted as well. So um for so if you do feel like you want to suggest to the channel, let me know down below. Hey, we want more Cypher. We're going to do the Cypher Monday set. Okay. I did end it at on a session end, which kind of concluded it in a kind of a weird way, where it was kind of a story. It was a story that was built up and had a climax at the end, which was a very strange happening, of course. and it can still go on. So that's the way it was built. Um, Traveler is going to continue on Sundays. So next Sunday, once again, we continue on with Shadows in the Stars, which is basically what I'm calling this next whole series of Traveler adventures. Once again, weird stuff happening in space and a certain not Imperium led region of space in the Traveler universe. This is more full of pirates and dead empires and young new aspiring empires sprouting up in this region of space. So it makes it a little bit more interesting. Lots of lost tech, ancient technologies and stuff like that. So more weirdness on the way on that. So Sundays, definitely back to Traveler again, starting this week. And if we get still a favorable response with the Cypher, we will continue on with Cypher every second Monday, starting with, I guess it's the 30th, or is it the 31st? Let me take a look here. At calendar. No, it's going to be, yeah, okay, 31st. So that'll be our Halloween treat, more Cypher, if that's what's going to happen. I've decided I'm not going to do a Arkham Horror because there's some issues with having that right now, which will be hopefully clarified, cleared up in the next month or so here. So otherwise, it would be there are reasons that we can't do this. So, and we just have to abide by that until the situation is over. And but in the meantime, I guess we will continue on doing these online sessions. And once again, we are learning. We are trying different things. We are evolving, figuring out ways to do this in full-on role play, and keeping the mechanics in the background, so that it's more of an immersive experience for not only us as players, but for those who are watching. And that's the whole idea here, is to gradually become better and better at it. Which, I mean, you all out there should be trying different things too and seeing what works. You might want to follow in our footsteps and try it yourself, and do these things, which we are doing, and see if it works for you and your group. You never know. It's a little bit of a different take on role playing, like it's actual role playing instead of playing a board game. So anyways, just once again, if you guys like what you see, if you like subscribe. Just do it. Come on, it's easy. Just hit that stupid button. It's free. And you get all my stuff.